Well, good afternoon and welcome to today's episode of Xandermonium, the talk show that gets you talking. I'm your host, Xander Gibb, and my guest today is the one and only Jake Pentland. For part 2 of our interview, we're going to dig a bit deeper and try and find out what makes Jake tick. We are here for your listening entertainment. More about Jake in a moment. You will be able to interact with us during the show today in the chat room. There will be live chat, although this is a recorded show. And you can check me out on Twitter at Xander Gibb, and you can check Jake out on Twitter too at Jake Pentland, capital J, capital P. Don't forget to check out Jake's show Saturdays, 1 p.m. PST, 4 p.m. EST, with Jake, Jen, and Eli, and all the crazy cult of Jake people. Timeout Seat with Brandy and Jenny, 3 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. EST. Now check their Twitter page for details at Timeout Seat. Also check out my sister from another Mr. Fallon Stone on the F-Word X, Saturdays, 3:30 PST, 5:30 EST. Hot topics of conversation on next week's show, what makes a joke inappropriate. Also, check out the Rob and Trav show from March 5th, which has happened already. They're on a new station called Grindhouse Radio, which is a sister, or maybe it would be brother, as they're all very butch over there, station to Gas House Radio. So check it out. I'm sure I'll see you there on Monday and Tuesday. Advance warning, from next Thursday, you'll be able to catch me, the one and only Xander Gibb, for the Best in Celebrity Karaoke in Yonkers. Yes, Yonkers. Me, Xander Gibb, live at the Davenport Club, located in the Ramada Inn on Tuckahoe Road. I'm so excited about this, and I hope you can come join me. More details to follow, or check out my Facebook page. So, without further ado, let's talk to Jake Pentland. So welcome back to the show, the one, the only, the infamous Jake Pentland. Good afternoon, Jake. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm really good, but I'm stressed this week and harassed, and I've been moving stuff around and changing rooms, and I need a holiday. I think maybe I'll go see your mom in Hawaii when she gets back.
Yeah, that's always relaxing.
Yeah. Can you imagine her response? Hey, it's Xander from Twitter. Knock, knock.
I'm sure, yeah. just run really fast through a gate screaming that.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I think a lot of people think that they own celebrities, and if I see someone in the street or if I see them in a restaurant, I'll smile or I'll say hi, but I think you really have to respect the level of privacy with people that are in the public eye, because you could get punched in the face, or worse, you could get shot.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's always so weird, the celebrity thing, because, I mean, I understand why people do sort of feel ownership. I mean, I've been listening to Howard Stern, for example, for 20 years, and in my mind, we have, I should turn the ringer off, I'm sorry. In my mind, we have,
it's all good.
Relationship, I've known the guy, I swear, I feel like he knows me, and then every once in a while I have to sort of shock myself back into reality that he has no idea who I am. It's kind of weird, and I'm sure that's probably how it is for most people.
Well, apparently, in psychological terms, they call it personification, and I had a real example of that the other day when I saw on the TV Valerie, her name escapes me, who played Rhoda. She was on the TV talking about... no, not Valerie Bertinelli. Valerie... It will come to me. But anyway, she was saying how, she was just so brave, and she said she was dying of cancer and all of this. And being the big poofter that I am, I just burst into tears. And then I was like, Xander, you don't even know this person. Why are you crying? But I think when you see people in your living room, like every week for 25 years, you kind of feel like you know them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens, and I've seen that on the other side when I'll be having lunch with my mom or something, and people come up, and you watch them, and they come up so excited, and like running into an old friend, and my mom has no idea who she is, and
right.
And the other thing is, like, you're trying to enjoy enjoy your lunch, and you don't know. I mean, people are crazy. Somebody could, come up and stab you like Monica Seles for all you know. So, my mom's understandably reserved, and you just sort of watch the thought sort of bounce around in their head from, when the moment where they realize that this person doesn't know them at all.
Right.
You can actually see it on their face. It's like Plinko on that old Price is Right game, where that ball just bounces around. You could see the thought do that in their head, and then they sort of just walk away slump-shouldered.
But I guess
it's kind of funny too. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I always enjoyed that look.
I guess in a way for you and your family, there's some bad shit attached to stuff like that. Because I don't know who it was that told me, but someone told me when there was all this with the when your mom sang out a ball game that you were getting death threats and people were putting things through your mailbox and shit like this. I mean, that must kind of stick with you, does it?
That kind of what? I'm sorry.
That must stick with you. That must stay with you. I mean, you were obviously a kid when all this happened. Basically, if people don't know what we're talking about, there was this gross overreaction to your mother being asked to sing the Star Spangled Banner at a ball game. She's not a singer. She's a comedian, and she joked it up, and some fucking tards took it the wrong way, and the whole country was in uproar, and the president made comments about it, and you got like death threats, and your mom did, didn't she? Didn't you have to have bodyguards and stuff?
Yeah, no, that's all true. We had to have bodyguards for months, and I had to be sort of sequestered in the house. I couldn't go to school for a little while because people were saying we're going to kill you and your children.
Wow.
It's you gotta love patriotism is beautiful.
Yeah, But to me that's not patriotism, because when you look back on it now,
I was being sarcastic. No, it's crazy. I mean, that whole thing is crazy. But yeah, if you could just imagine being me in that situation, just sort of, you're at a ball game with your mom, she sings, it's all fun, and then afterwards, everyone's trying to murder you and your family.
Wow.
you can see like why when people are like come to me and talk about wanting to be famous, or how it must be so great. And I remember getting in a fight with someone. I don't remember who it was, but they were telling me how much easier my life's been than theirs because my mom's a celebrity.
Oh.
Things that they don't pay attention to. I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong.
No.
I'm blessed. I'm very lucky to be in this life, and it has been easy. I'll be honest with you. But there's times like that where I wish people would pay a little bit more attention to than they do. It is terrifying. It's really terrifying.
I'm sure. I mean, my bodyguards have to come with me to brunch. Sorry, go on. I talked over you.
I was saying it is terrifying when you're 12, 13 years old that you're in a bulletproof car with armed bodyguards because you murder your family. It's a weird feeling. It's not something that I think normal people have ever really dealt with.
No, just us celebs. I mean, I can't go to brunch without bodyguards. I mean, it's frightening. My popular talk show with all its 12 listeners, I get swamped. I know the
feeling.
Yeah, you got 25 listeners. Come on, I had Rosie O'Donnell on the other day.
No, man.
And I'm a bit pissed with Rosie because I've been asking her for 6 months to come on my show, and I'm glad that one of us got her. If it wasn't me, I'm glad it was you.
I think that's one of the benefits of being a celebrity kid is that I can interview Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah. But I said this to you before. I don't think you use the fact that she's your mom enough, because I tell you, even though there's a birth certificate on Twitter that says your mom is my mom, I tell you she really was. I would have T-shirts printed. I'd have it tattooed on my ass. I really would, because if it can open doors for you, why not use it? You name me one celebrity kid the child of a celebrity that doesn't use that to their advantage.
That would be very hard to name.
Yeah.
I think just me, actually.
But I really do think you should use it more if you're listening serious, because I know they're kind of listening to my show because they want me to join them. I'm being headhunted, apparently. So one thing I always wonder about you, Jake, and we don't kind of get the chance to talk that often about, like on a one-to-one. It's mostly business stuff when we talk. But do you ever kind of feel a bit robbed with regards to how much of your time the public got from your mom and you didn't?
That's a really good question, but no, actually, because again, when you're on the inside of fame, you know that it's a job. You know what I mean? Like, so
Right.
the time my mom was gone, she was working. So I mean, there's kids that parents are working 100-hour weeks or gone in the military or whatever. I mean, there's millions of kids that had their parents gone for work, and when you're a kid, honestly, you understand that as long as your parents, are loving when they come home and they take care of you, then, you understand that. So, no, I don't feel anything. She worked her ass off. I mean, I don't feel anything negative, I should say. I mean,
No.
I just knew she was at work. I mean, for me, it wasn't like I was sharing her with a bunch of people. It was a job. She would leave at 9 in the morning. She'd come home at 9 at night. We'd have dinner.
Do you think that that's also a testament to your dad on how good a parent he was? Because I know from stuff I've heard your mom say that your dad took over a lot of the parenting so she could go off and do these things.
Yeah. I mean, when they were married up until the first season of the Roseanne sitcom.
Right.
And yeah, no, my dad worked when I was a kid. He worked at the post office. He had a good government job, and we were going to retire off that. We were middle class. My mom was a housewife, and then, a traditional gender role, so to speak, and then she took off, and he had to quit his job and essentially become, Mr. Mom. He was a stay-at-home dad while she was working.
Right.
I don't know, 3-4 years before she made it. Yeah, it was, it's a testament to him that I'm normal. I mean, my mom's a great mom. Yeah, she was gone a lot, and then of course she was, married to Tom for some years, and there was crazy time in there. She's got her good parts and bad parts about her, but my dad's a solid dude, man. So yeah, he never gets the credit he deserves. People really think me or Jenny or anyone's funny or charming. I mean, I understand it, but they're always like, God, you're just like your mom, and I'm probably exactly 50-50 of my parents. And the part of me that's sort of calm and rational, I think most people, if they thought about it, they would probably think that. They'd probably wonder where that came from.
Right.
And that came from my dad.
I mean, obviously, you see a different side to your mom than we do, but I am sure you get pissed at people always, and I'm sure Jenny does too. I'm hoping to have her come on the show at some point, so I will ask her. But I'm sure you both get so pissed at everybody saying, can you get your mom to do this? Can you get your mom to unblock me? Can you get your mom to follow me? I mean...
I'll give you an example. So I'm at work yesterday, editing, excuse me, and I get this call, and, I try not to answer the phone at work because it could be you calling, you know what I mean? So
bitch.
I'm sort of ignoring it, and I was like, okay, I'll answer it. And I get this call, and it's this, crying woman. And this happens once a week, by the way, but I hear this voice on the other end, and she goes, is Roseanne Barr there? And I go, who's calling, please? And she's like, oh, why would you ask me that? I go, well, traditionally when you call somebody and you ask for someone, that's the next logical question for you. So she starts crying, literally starts crying, and says something about the government taking her child and how she has a brown shit stain on her floor and that she's not on drugs anymore. This is all within the next 10 seconds. And I'm, being calm.
Wow.
And I go, well, what is it you need from Roseanne? I didn't want her to know I was a kid. I go, what do you need
from
Roseanne? She's like, well, they're going to take my baby. And I go, but how do you expect Roseanne to help you in this? And she said, I want publicity and money.
Wow.
So I talked her off the ledge. I'm good at talking to crazies. That's what I do. So by the end, she's like, thank you so much. I told her to get a new lawyer and all this stuff. And she was very happy by the end of the call. But that's just when I just randomly pick up the phone, people are crying, telling me that they need to talk to my mom to save their baby because they're a drug addict.
Wow.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
No, I mean,
to answer your question, yeah, it drives me fucking crazy because, my mom's got a lot of money, but, that doesn't mean that she's going to solve all of your problems for people.
No. Why the hell should she? But do you know? But do you know what I think that part of that is? And I'm not saying that your mom deserves it, but your mom cares, and because she cares, people will always want to kind of feed onto that. You've only got to look at your mom's Twitter feed to see she's passionate. She cares about, the environment. She cares about what's going on in this country, blah, 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 blah. So I think that there will be people who think, oh, maybe she'll give me some cash,
That's most people, and it's, it's like, dude, I barely get cash. work.
Right.
Let's let me get some first.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Jake. Any chance you can get your mom to buy me a new car?
I get that a lot. Well, the other one is, like you said, by extension, the thing that really pisses me off is when, for instance, I'm thinking about leaving Blog Talk eventually, and
join the club.
Exactly, but you have to, there's an investment in that, your own website,
right?
Microphone. And I don't have money. So whenever I talk about it, people are like, "Well, just do it," and I say, "I can't afford it." And I've had people tell me that obviously I don't care, I don't have passion. Like, they just assume I'm a millionaire.
Right.
Less than most of my followers.
Should I not tell people about that check you sent me for my birthday for 3 figures then, Jake?
What's that?
Should I not tell people about the check you sent me for my birthday, or should I just keep that?
Yeah, you should leave that quiet.
Right. Okay. I will. No,
I wish I had money. Believe me, I wish having Roseanne as a mother meant that I was a millionaire. But
you know, I really resent, and I really hate, I've known people in all walks of life, celebrities, millionaires, poor people. Whenever I go out with someone that I know is moneyed, I always want to pick up the check. You know why? Because I never want people to think that I'm friends with them just for what they can do for me. Because I remember you said once that, I can't remember whether you tweeted it or you said it, you said somebody always wants something from a friendship or a relationship. I would hate to be thought of in those terms because, you know me, you've known me for a while. I like to be a giving person. And yeah, people sometimes think that you're looking for something, but in time they see that you're not. You're just genuinely a nice person. But I hate that assumption when people think just because you have money you're going to pick up the check, Right. Because to me, pay your own. If you can't afford to pay your own way, don't fucking go out. That's my philosophy, really.
Smart.
So as you brought up Blog Talk, let's talk about them for a little while because it's not like they're going to kick us off. Because we do. I know you don't personally, but I pay a fee to be with them, and I get really pissed off. For me, in any kind of contractual situation where I'm paying for A, B, and C, and I only get A and B, and C is poor quality. Now, I know, because we've talked about this, that you're being headhunted. Maybe you're not being headhunted by who you want to be headhunted by, but do you think you're going to eventually, jump ship and go elsewhere, or what do you think is going to happen? I mean, will you just wait for a bigger name to come and scoop you up, or?
Well, I mean, God, that's such a complicated question because, I'm loyal to Unscripted and Jeffrey and, how they've helped me. But, it's like the sad truth is, hopefully they'll listen to the show. The sad truth is, if you want to make money at this in the podcasting game, obviously you got to be good and you got to have listeners. But that goes without saying. But the real way to make money is you have to house your own.
You do.
You have to have your own website. It has to be in your name, and you have to pay the bills. And
right.
That's how you make money. If you're under a Blog Talk or like I'm with Uncensored, or if I left for Gas House or anyone else that wanted me or thought I was good enough, at the end of the day, I'm a TV show on their network. The networks are who make the money.
Right.
My plan is to get enough of a following and listeners that I would go that route, and that's going to be an ugly day. I fear that day. It's a good problem to have, but I do feel bad. Like I said, I'm loyal. But yeah, I mean, if you want to do this for a living, which I do,
right? I get that.
Just the gross natural. That's just the truth of it. So no, I'm not waiting for a bigger name. I'm waiting for more listeners.
Because the difficulty is like Rosie said the other day in your interview, is how to monetize the shit. That's the difficulty. I mean, I've offered advertising space that I would push people. And one person actually said to me, I'm not gonna rat them out, but one person who has a restaurant actually said, I find your subject matter too controversial to be connected with my business. I thought, I've made it.
Right.
Because I don't want to be so mainstream that I kind of conform, because some of the stuff I talk about is really out there, but shouldn't that be the aim of being a talk show host, not doing the generic bullshit? I mean, no one could listen to your show and say, oh my God, it's generic bullshit. I mean, it's interesting, it's topical. Sometimes people don't like your your response or your reactions, but I don't think you're there to be liked, are you? Really, you're there to, I always use a statement. I say that it's fine if you don't like me. I'm not here to be liked. I'm actually here to make a difference, and I think you would concur with that.
Yes and no. I mean, I'm human. I want to be liked. I mean, I don't want to be liked to the point where I'm going to be somebody that I'm not. But, I mean, ideally, I'd like to be myself and be liked for it. I think that's just a human, like, basic
right.
human need, like water or food. But, unfortunately, myself is not very likable all the time. So I have to work on that a little bit. I am in the process of getting in touch with the obstacles that I put in my way. And
right.
I love that I have an aggressive side. I love that I don't put up with a shred of bullshit from morons. But I think I'll just put it this way. I heard a really good piece of advice from somebody recently. That's why I've changed my photo, and I've stopped following 1,500 people this morning on Twitter, and why I'm reconsidering the way in which I do things, which is what he said was, the way in which you deliver the message is the message. And I rejected that notion for a long time. I thought if you said something profound and intelligent, it wouldn't matter what words you used. And that was an experiment I was conducting for some time. And unfortunately, outside of a few smart people, and we know who those are, you're one of them. There's like maybe 100 of them. Smart people get me. They know that what I'm trying to do, and they don't get caught up in the minute details that are fucking meaningless. But unfortunately, as this person said, most people are fucking idiots.
But in fairness,
the way in which you deliver the message is the actual message, and I hate it, but I'm understanding that's the world. And if I want to be, here's the thing: I want to be liked because then I'll get more followers and I'll get more money.
Right.
I'm a fucking sociopath, I'll be honest. Also, I do like people and I do want to help, yes, but bottom line, this is a business. I'm looking at this now as podcasting. I want to do this for a living, and there's certain things you have to do. So when you talk about sponsorship or selling yourself out, there is a certain game you have to play.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's just the way it is. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent.
No, hey, it's cool. I mean, but haven't I'm not shining my own medal here, and that's not a euphemism for masturbation. But didn't I say something similar to you a few months ago about your message?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I was getting it. Even my sisters and my aunts and uncles and friends, everybody, my wife more than anyone, was trying to give me this advice. But what are you rubbing yourself there? What's that sound?
No, I don't know what it was. The phone just went silent for a second. Don't flatter yourself, Jake.
Oh, well, I do have a nice voice. But anyway, no,
you should
had
just
a lot of people telling
do porn,
shooting me in
phone lines and stuff. Go on, sorry.
No, I'm just saying, yes, a lot of people gave me that advice, but this particular person, again, sometimes it's how you deliver the message, and that's the lesson for me. Cause
absolutely.
I needed to hear, which is, you have to understand the people you're mad at for being stupid are just stupid. There's no reason to get mad at them.
Right.
No one ever said that.
I have to say though, and I will quantify this statement. What?
I'm such an asshole.
You're not an asshole. I actually, you are really an acquired taste, and I feel like it took me a while to get to know you.
Smart people get through the tests.
Yeah, but I think once you do, I kind of see where you're coming from, and I would be the first to admit, I've said this to you privately, I'll say it to you publicly, you have been a help to me, and I don't mean, getting me rungs up the ladder, but just with things like my level of sensitivity, and I never even saw that I was that sensitive, I'm a comedian, I'm funny, people talk shit about me all the time, and I laugh at it, but certain buttons that people press, I get upset, but I think I've got better. It all has to be a growth and a learning curve, because if it's not, what's the point,
Well, what I said when I said conducted an experiment, because the truth is, wow, you're getting the real awesome, brilliant Jake. You're very lucky. Also, there'll be 5 people to hear this. Just know that going in. But I had an idea when I started doing podcasts. I've said this before, because my small Twitter celebrity came from the Lifetime show.
Right.
And that was very much me. He's a sweet kid. Everyone thought I was gay. That's
I did, and you know, my gaydar is wonderful, but go figure.
No, I'm a really I am a really nice person. I'm a very warm person. But when I started Twitter, you know, here, let me put it this way: I see a weakness in myself and others that I think is crippling.
Right.
One of the things, and I talk about all the time, is being oversensitive or reacting to something with, you know, dysfunction and bias.
Butthurt.
Butthurt, fine. Yes, that's another word. I'm trying to deliver the message in a better way.
Right.
So let's just say deep sadness, and it's something that people aren't aware of. It could be the way in which they're raised, whatever.
Right.
So I can see pretty clearly, for whatever reason, I've been given a gift from the heavens that I can pretty much see when someone's reacting out of dysfunction. It's a gift. So when I started doing radio, I want to save the world. I don't even want to be liked. I want to save the world. Yes.
Right.
And my plan and path to doing that was the people that care, that are compassionate, a lot of times are oversensitive. Like the problem I have with the left wing.
Right.
They care so much about every homeless person and every sick person, and it's beautiful. I mean, Jesus was that way. But these people are also really intertwined in a lot of butthurt and dysfunction. So I've started to think, if you could get the compassionate people to grow and strengthen and not be so reactive and not be so judgmental, then maybe those people can counteract the, you know, terrors.
Because it's a knock-on effect, isn't it?
On the right.
Almost.
What's that?
It's a knock-on effect, you know. How you behave and respond actually affects how the next person behaves and responds.
Well, I look at it more like this. The way in which, here's a better way to say it, the way in which you choose to see the world is the way in which the world will be to you.
Right.
So if you are constantly reacting out of fear and dysfunction, then your whole world is going to be cracked through that. It's going to come through that cracked prism. So you can't have a rational debate because your lens that you're viewing through is cracked.
Right.
Wouldn't it be better, instead of getting in debates or talking about details and politics and all that shit, wouldn't it be better to fix your fucking glasses first?
I agree with you too. I agree with you 200%. And I think it's so easy to where, you know, I'm not even going to get into the shit that I've encountered during my childhood and my life today. But you have two choices. You either wear your shit as a badge for the world to see, or you look at it as a mirror and you get that mirror clean. You deal with that shit so that it doesn't affect the rest of your life. And I think if you don't, and this is going to sound harsh, but who have you got to blame but yourself, you know? You can't keep blaming everybody else for your dysfunction.
No. And not just that. Now you are putting that out in the world, and the world itself, the earth, is just a big rock with water on it. It's what we do as people to each other that changes the day-to-day. So
right.
If now you're viewing the world through that, now you're going out and you're affecting people around you. If you're having children, you're raising them through that cracked prism, and eventually you have a world of, you know, dysfunctional people, which is what we have.
Yeah, because dysfunctional people raise dysfunctional people. It's
no shit. That's what a year and a half ago when I started radio. I was like, this is going to be a huge undertaking, and I still got a long way to go. But I need to get people to see their own bullshit, myself included. I've had a lot of moments on the air over the last year. Nobody listens because fuck you, Blog Talk. Sorry. I've had a lot of really
blasphemy
myself where I thought I've looked inside and I've changed. I'm doing it now. I realize that I've been too angry. That kind of thinking, that kind of self-evaluating. You know, I'm not even saying I'm perfect or you guys are perfect or anything. It's just that's what you have to do. You have to constantly do that.
But
that's how you get better, and by extension, your environment gets better, and now you're better to the world, and the world will get better.
But your growth, you know what? You know, we talked about my growth and how I've grown, but you've grown too, and you've changed and you've evolved, and it's noticeable.
Thank you very much, and I just want to say that, you know, I have come a long way. I got a long way to go, but I've reacted this week, particularly very harsh to somebody named Kfb-999 or something on Twitter.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, and I'm not going to apologize now.
No.
Because let me just put it this way. Okay. Again, you're getting the real Jake. That woman's prism, the pair of glasses in which she sees the world, are some of the most broken I've ever seen. And I don't mean that she's a bad person. She's actually a very sweet person. We've had very sweet conversations together. It's something she reacts completely emotionally to.
Right.
That, when you're, I hope she doesn't listen to this, when you let me see that.
No, there's only 12 people listening, and we know them.
Xander show, right? No one, so, just kidding.
Bitch.
But when you let people, well, I have 25. When you let people see how fucking dysfunctional your bullshit is, and then she's, by extension, very insulting on the way back. If you let somebody like me who has a Jesus complex believes he's here to fix you because I'm that screwed up, I'm going to dog bite you. I am going to latch on, and I'm going to drive you fucking crazy.
You're like a fly on shit with it, dude, aren't you? Let's face it, you know.
Yeah, but again, the end of the day, I know that if this stupid shit-eating cunt bag were to listen to me, her prism, her glasses would repair because she would see that she's having a fucking moment of...
You're preaching to the perverted. Sorry, to the converted. Because what did I just say 5 minutes ago? It is about seeing your own dysfunctionality, if that's a word, because you can't see it until it's pointed out to you. You can't see your own dysfunctionality until someone points it out to you, or maybe you can, but you choose to ignore it.
Yes.
I think.
You're saying for me or for the cunt bag?
I'm speaking in general terms, but I think you should come with a disclaimer, and I think you should adopt what I said about you because I felt it was very fair and very apt. Remember yesterday when I said it's imperative not to take anything that you say to heart because your passion sometimes blurs the delivery of your message on occasions, and I really felt that was apt.
Yeah, that was my response. I said that's fair and that's true. But again, you know, how do I put this another way?
Just say it, dude.
Okay. I mean, do you really want to rehash this debate about meds? I talk about all the time.
No, I don't. I get your point about that.
Here. I'm going to take over your show like I always do. I'm going to do it really quick, okay?
It's so unlike you to do that, but go ahead.
Here's what I say for people who haven't followed. 90% of these teen school shooters are on antidepressants.
Right.
Okay? I've done this show 1,000 times. Now, if you're an intelligent and objective person that can talk like an adult and not a stinking or fucking maggot-infested bag of cunt like Kfb-999, you can look at that and go, well, that's certainly something we should look at, right?
Yeah.
Like even when I got in a debate with Fallon yesterday, you know, we were talking about all sorts of things, went a million different ways. At the end, she said, I agree with you, it should be part of the conversation.
But I think KSD took that personally. That was my opinion. She took that personally.
Because she's dysfunctional. That's my point. So when I know you're going to take something personally, I'm going to continually beat you over the head with it. You're going to take it so personal because you are doing that to yourself. I'm giving her a gift.
I can't disagree with you.
Show,
can I?
Yes.
Really?
Because hold on. So I say 90% of shooters aren't think so. I then say, and I've said it clearly 1,000 different ways, that I'm not saying that everybody on antidepressants is going to kill everybody. What I'm saying is everybody who has killed everybody has been on antidepressants. Now, that is just an objective and reasonable way.
That's fact, isn't it? That's not something that you've. Yeah. That's not something you've plucked out of your ass. It's true.
It's true, and like I said to the cunt scab, if 90% of these shooters were all had a carrot in their hand, she would probably think that carrots were somehow linked and would want to talk.
Yeah.
The whole country would. For some reason, with antidepressants, nobody wants to because it's a fucking $100 billion a year industry. But anyway, long story short. There's a link. There's objective analysis. Do you know what the shit-eating bag of fuckface stench said when I presented that?
Go on.
She said, you don't understand scientific methodology. Now, here's somebody who had just heard me say, here's a fact. Here is a very well-organized and objective debate. Here is my premise. And you can, debate me afterwards fairly on that ground. A lot of people did. Like I said, Fallon did. Other people did. I was not mean to any of them, was I?
No.
Was I mean to anybody that disagreed with me?
No, but I think...
I'll say anyone that
I think you... Yeah, let me answer your question before you move on. I think you could have been a bit less because you got kind of a bit with KFB, whatever it is, you did get a little personal, like cunt, shitbag, face.
I didn't say your kid's a fucking idiot or anything.
No, but calling her a cunt bag is kind of, some people are not as thick-skinned, you cunt bag.
Right, but again, look at it again. It's like I give you a scientific observation and you respond, you don't understand science. Now, to me, you can call me bald, you can call me fat.
Check.
I'm an idiot. You cannot disregard truth because you're that fucked up. And
no, because
tell me it's my fault that I see something objectively because I'm a moron.
No, I can't disagree with that at all. You are absolutely right.
And I'm not really upset.
No.
No, I'm totally upset. I'm kidding.
But I think that sometimes we can only see, like, let me give you an example. Before I interviewed you the first time, I listened to some of your older shows to kind of get a feel for who you were and what you were trying to do. And I listened to this fucking show about MPD. I thought, my God, I have MPD. And then I thought, no. All diagnosis is a process of elimination, and I kind of worked through it. But, this is the thing. When we see things in ourselves that others are talking about that could potentially affect us, it makes us go into attack mode, and I think that's maybe what KFB did, rightly or wrongly.
Let's cut to the chase. Are you saying that KFB has drawn up something about me that I don't like?
No. I mean, I think she maybe has issues around people on mental health meds, on psych meds.
Oh, she definitely does.
And you pulled off her scab basically, and that's what the issue was.
Let me ask you a question. Last one. You told me you feel like I've helped you.
Yeah, and I've said that publicly.
And how do you think I helped you?
Because you pulled off my scab, and it forced me to look at the wound, basically.
Thank you. Well, then there you go. Then, maybe that giant bag of...
All right, moving swiftly on, because there's a couple more things that I want to ask you about. Now, two things I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about the world's perception of you being gay, and I also want to talk a little bit about religion. I know you don't have a lot of time, so...
She hasn't called yet, so I'm doing good.
Your mother is convinced that you and Eli are a couple. Now, I'm sure that's just comedic fun, but you two just seem to laugh it off. You're obviously both married. There was a debate on Twitter the other day as to whether the lovely Allie, your wife, was actually a model that was hired by the TV company, and whether I never know how to pronounce Eli's wife's name. Is it Misha?
Oh.
What?
Michal, like Michael, but...
Miha, right.
Michal,
right. Whether she's a beard or not. But let's face it, with all good intentions, if you and him were gay, you would have just shacked up a long time ago, wouldn't you? Really? Let's face it, it's not like you would hide that, would you?
When she yelled at me, she's like, "You two should get married." I was like, I wish I were gay, and I wish Eli were gay. Believe me. I mean, the best thing about being gay and why I'm jealous of you is that you get to hang out with other guys because women are crazy. I think about it, gay guys are crazy, like you. So maybe I'm.
But in response, I'm not. I'm just an overreactor. I'm probably the most sanest person you will talk to, and only because I am so analytical of my own life and my own behavior. But it's a soothsayer for me because it keeps me in check. Because otherwise, I would verbally rip everyone's head off and shit down their neck. So
absolutely. So I mean, I am jealous of gay guys because they don't have to deal with women.
Right.
I am straight and married, and yes, no, my wife is not a model nor a beard.
No. I didn't think she was, but don't you think it's funny, really? Because I do.
I do think it's funny. It's flattering to her that someone would think she's a model, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
No, me and Eli are not gay. We are just really good friends, man. I mean, I've known the guys since high school, and we were. At that time when we met, we were both, teenagers and had very different views of the world and very upbringings, and we've really helped each other out a lot. I mean, he's the most non-judgmental person I've ever met, and it's pretty amazing because he's a Jew. But he is...
Oh, no, he's not another Jew, is he? With a name like Eli, I didn't think he was a Catholic, really. You know?
No, he is, like, literally, I feel like I could go... I feel like if I went crazy and just stabbed a bunch of hobos...
Homos or hobos?
Either one. I could go to Eli's house and be like, dude, I've got 15 dead people on my car, and he would drive me out of the forest and help me dig. That's
wow.
what friend is.
Well, he sounds like he's a phenomenal friend. Then I don't know him very well. You know, I was actually saying to him the other day in the chat in your show. I was private messaging him and saying, you know, I hope my gay comments about you and Jake don't bother you. And he's like, I don't care. It's funny, you know. It's I don't know. I think that the ones that have an issue with it are the ones you've got to worry about. Like, for instance, Fishy. I flirt with Fishy. I interviewed Fishy, and I found him to be like, I wanted to adopt him as my little brother. He's such a nice person. And I said in fun, I said, did his wife have a gay brother for me? He said, no, I wish she did, because I would really like to introduce you. That's the kind of guy he is. But guys that don't have an issue about it, that don't have a problem, they're not the ones you need to be concerned about. It's the ones that get really uppity.
I think that's probably true, because again, there's your cracked prism. I mean, if thou doth protest too much, I believe in that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone against it is secretly gay, but
no, me either.
Because you really should just be completely. I mean, the whole homosexual thing, really, as a straight guy, like, I don't see how you can be anything but just neutral and objective. And honestly, I really don't even give a shit. Like, it's not really that big of a deal one way or the other. I don't even know why it's a national debate. It's like, to me, you're gay. It's like, that's like saying I'm a Bronco fan or a Raider fan.
Yeah.
I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I don't know where it kind of went, you know, tits up in this country about that kind of thing. Because before I moved back here, I was convinced, you know, I've only been back here for like 10, 11 years, but I was convinced that there was already gay marriage in this country because, you know, I see America as like the front runner, the best country in the world. You know, I'm super patriotic, and when I got back here and found that two people of the same sex couldn't get married, I was like, what the fuck? Is this still America? You know, what about democracy and freedom and liberty? Have all these things, you know, gone out of the window because the Republicans decided to throw them out? You know, it's and it's not all Republicans, obviously, because I know lots of Republicans and what's the next stage on? Libertarians. They're kind of in between Republicans and Democrats, aren't they? They're so pro-gay that, you know, they make me look homophobic, really.
Yeah, no, I mean, it just, I don't know. I really don't, the gay thing is bizarre. I don't know.
So let's talk about religion just for a few minutes, because we've talked a little bit on Twitter and stuff about religion, and I think I got a bit of a bee in my bonnet, first of all, because, I believe in God. I pray. I believe I have a relationship with God, and I believe some of the things in my life have been affected by that. But just because I do that and you don't believe, or you're an atheist or whatever you are, I'm sure you're going to tell us in a minute, that doesn't change that or alter that for me. Nor do I want to kind of foist that upon you, if that's even a word. But it's what works for me. It's what I've chosen. It's what helps me. It's what kind of contributes to my feeling right and my well-being. But we always seem to have this debate about religion. So I want to know where you're coming from, because 140 characters is not really an easy way to get your point across unless you send 10 tweets on the same fucking subject.
No, if Twitter was a way to communicate clearly, I would have millions of followers, to be honest.
Right.
I mean, it's just not the best means, and it's not just the character limit. It's really how hard it is to trace a conversation from beginning to end, because you want to respond to somebody 3 different times. Sometimes you have to go to an old tweet just to get their name and reply, and then all of a sudden when you go to view that conversation, it's a bunch of non-sequiturs. So it's a mess.
Right.
But real simple, here's what I said. My premise has always been that if you are religious, you do not think for yourself.
Right. I'm not religious.
Right.
No way.
What happens, I get, and again, I say things by design because I want to upset people. I want to get people thinking. So I know.
Oh, really? That's your MO? I'd never known that, you know?
So I know that when I say that offends both non-believers and believers because, well, maybe not non-believers. I shouldn't say that. Not the first thing. That will offend religious people. And then when I start talking about how I believe in God, then that offends the atheists. So it's a two-step program. But anyway, here's the premise.
So you want to piss us all off, basically, don't you? That's what you're trying to do.
Again, it's crack prism, man. It's like God, the universe, religion. It's just such a huge, complex. It's not even issue's not the word. It's just huge. It's amorphous, and there's no way as people that we'll ever understand or figure it out.
Not while we're alive, anyway.
Exactly. So I would go as far as to say that the human brain is not capable of fathoming God. I really believe this. Just like we know the universe is infinite. Logically, we could say, it's infinite. But none of us can actually, and this is true, this is scientific fact, you cannot conceive what infinity is like.
No.
Brain has to have parameters. It's just we're calculator brains. That's just how we are. So I look at God the same way. It is completely imperceivable. You cannot understand it, and you will never, ever figure it out. So to try makes you, in my opinion, a moron. And if you subscribe to a religion, then I think you're not thinking for yourself. Because if once you're in...
Absolutely.
Put it this way, I've been bar mitzvahed. I've had many different religions. I've opened my mind to it. Every time I've sat in a church and they've said, God said this, God said that, I've always had the first thought going, you don't know. You're a human, just like me. God doesn't talk to you. He doesn't talk to me. And certainly, if he does, he doesn't talk in a way that you can repeat it word for word, and you don't know. You're just making this shit up.
Yeah, because for all we know, this is the thing about the Bible. I mean, I'm not a linguist, but I've spoken to people that have studied it in depth, and even just, for instance, the scriptures that pertain to homosexuality. Apparently the original translations were talking about prostitution and promiscuity. So it's all about interpretation, really. Even the modern Bible today, you could give a scripture to 10 scholars, and they would all have a different premise or response to what that scripture actually is. And I think that's kind of, I think that's a good analogy, because I think that everybody you meet is going to have a different ideology about God, whether he exists, whether he doesn't exist, what he does, what his function is, where he lives.
Usually, if you pay attention to what most people find in God, is they find a way to justify their behaviors.
Right.
That's what's underneath it, and that's another thing why I say.
I guess so.
You can't really be a free thinker, because if God say do this, don't do that, and you're like, well, my God says I can do this or that. It's like having a parent set your rules. First of all, if you're open-minded and a free thinker, you don't need someone else to tell you what's right or wrong.
No.
You know.
No, definitely not.
It's wrong to kill. I get a lot of that sometimes in debates where religious people go, well, you wouldn't have morals without religion. And I go, fuck you.
Yeah, what a load of bullshit.
You don't think you think it's because God, I'm worried about going to hell, that I'm not going to kill someone? I would even argue that if you're not killing someone because you're afraid to go to hell, you're a worse person than me who kills someone just because I don't really care.
Right.
And I can make that argument because
absolutely.
You're justifying behavior with an imaginary person. That's psychotic. But I believe in that there is a higher intelligence. I believe in intelligent design, for lack of a better term. I believe that I've had experiences that there is a God. I absolutely believe in God.
Me too.
Don't believe in a single scripture of religion, and the reason I don't is because I'm not a moron.
Well, can I tell you what the difference is? Until I was about 14 or 15, I kind of never really knew the difference. But when I kind of started to get rejected by the church for being gay, it made me question everything, because, in my mind, God was about love. And that's when I kind of saw that the difference was between religion and having a relationship with God was this, purely and simply. Religion is about control. But having a relationship about God is doing these things because you want to do them. Not because he's going to hit you with a stick if you don't.
Right. The other term I use for religious people is child-brained, because it's really a child brain to think like, if I do this, I'll get a treat. Mommy will let me have some dessert, and if I don't, I'll get grounded.
Right.
There's a reason that you have to treat a child like that.
Absolutely.
Their brains aren't fully developed to be free thinkers yet.
So what do you think about this with this new pope that just came in the other day? And they brought up this comment that he'd made a couple of years ago by saying, I know you've done shows on this, and I know you've had fights with Uncle Ben about it. He said, now I know you've never said this or suggested this, but this pope said 2 years ago that gay adoption was akin to child abuse.
Well, I mean, there's so much hilarity.
I know. That's like me saying, I can't think of an example, but it's like me saying, don't sleep with 25-year-old black guys, okay?
Well, I mean, when I made that show you're referencing about gay adoption, now I'm for gay adoption.
Right.
This is my problem with it, and I'll be really frank with you. We'll probably never talk again. I believe, as a child, and all children, that the best case scenario for a kid is to have a healthy mom and dad. Now, that's best case scenario.
Right.
Now, 2 healthy gay guys is better than a mom and dad that are crackheads.
Right. Definitely.
I made this clear. Of course, my mother and uncle still won't talk to me.
She fired you over it, didn't she? She said, you're fired.
Crack prism, right? So that's the deal. And anyone that's objective and not a fucking moron and cunt stash like Kfb-999 would understand that.
Poor Kfb-999.
That's what's best for a kid, in my opinion. And again, that's an opinion, so it's whatever. With that said, there are millions of children that are in foster care that don't have a chance. They don't have parents. They're going to probably fucking die in the system. They're in gangs, or they have no parental guidance whatsoever, and they're just basically starving. I think that starting tomorrow, if I were president, that for gays to adopt would be, for a foster child, would be as easy as signing your name over. Because everyone's like, well, what did you have to do background and all this stuff? Of course. But
yeah, of course.
Staying in a fucking foster home with a bunch of foster children is terrifying. That's like prison junior. These kids aren't learning right from wrong. They don't have positive role models. They're in there jerking off in a sock and punching each other. Let's be honest, with the sock.
You've thought about this
and get adopted. Now,
in detail, obviously.
I do have a problem with gay couples that want to have a kid for political reasons. I'm not saying that all of them do that, but there are a lot of gay couples that go, well, we can have a kid and teach them love and just be like everybody else, and they basically have that kid as a political statement and a pawn, and that is, in my opinion, child abuse.
But didn't you discuss this obviously outside of the show with Ben? Ben saw what you were trying to say. You see, I think we all have a selective assumption about what we hear sometimes. Some people would have took from what you said was that you were against it, and you're not. You just said you're not. But this, selective assumption that some people have is they hear a little bit of it, they tag onto it, like a rabid dog. That's all they can kind of keep hold of.
Yeah, or like a giant heaping pile of Kfb-999 and what she hears when I talk about antidepressants and shooting. She can't hear that I'm saying.
Absolutely, but can I just say...
I'm saying. She hears something I'm not saying, and that happened with my uncle and my mother. But again, I'm not one of those people, like you said, the very first question you asked me in this interview is, do I want to be liked? Yes, but if I have to say things that I don't believe so that idiots like that giant cesspool of vaginal pus, KFB, needs to hear it, then I'm not going to do it.
Can I just point out that
communication... Sorry.
Wow. Go on.
Isn't communication about I say something and then you say something back? But not about telling me what I said, which isn't true, and then insulting me?
Absolutely. I agree with you, but can I just point out that Jake Pentland's opinions about KFB-99 do not reflect the opinions of this show, per se.
Sure, KFB-999 is a sweet old lady. I'm sure she's a good caring.
I wouldn't know who she was because she doesn't have a picture. She's always been very nice to me. But I read some people's stuff on there, and I'm learning to just laugh because my instant, because I'm an activist, I'm a born activist. I have to challenge shit that I don't agree with, but sometimes I have to laugh. You have to pick your battles, and unfortunately, some people don't have that switched on in their brain, and it took a long time for me to be able to, kind of think whether this was, is this worth my time and my brain cells and my anger? Because sometimes it isn't, but other times.
And I know you're speaking now for me, to me. And I appreciate it. And you're absolutely right. Yes, at the end of the day, do I want to be this venomous and angry towards a huge heaping pile of monkey vomit? No, I don't. I think it's a waste of time, and I have better things to do with my time. And yes, I hear you. I wish that giant, scabby cunt scab, that was not very good verbiage. I'm usually I take my time with my tweets. That fucking cunt. I think that I shouldn't be as angry, and yes, I see what you're saying. Yes, I agree.
Right.
Wish that piece of shit didn't upset me at the level she did. But I asked for one thing in return, which is to meet me head on and be respectful, and I will treat you respectfully. If you insult me and ignore me and lie, I'm going to attack you. Hopefully I'll evolve past that. And I think I am. I think I'm working on being nicer, and really...
I do, too.
It's just this one piece of shit, this one shitbag lady, Kfb-999. It's like all the other people, all the Republicans I found, like everyone else, I'm laughing, I'm happy. It's only one person now that I'm directing it at, and it's really just because I have an issue. Here, I'll be honest with you. I'll show that I can do it. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
I have an issue psychologically when I am not heard, and when my opinion is ignored, and I don't know the other word for it, but it's like passively ignoring somebody, like dismissed. Dismissed.
Right.
It's an issue when what I say is dismissed, and you can be your own fucking closet therapist listening to this interview and figure where that stems from. I'm not going to say, but when somebody dismisses me, to me, it hurts me way more than being insulted.
Right.
It's way more than anything, because it's really, really a really shitty way to treat somebody.
Yep.
And that's what happened. If you go back and read it, now anyone reading our debate would think that she was just this nice old lady and I went crazy on her for no reason. The truth is, I told you already what I said. I drew a comparison that 90% of shooters have meds in their system. And I was told that I didn't understand scientific methodology and that she couldn't talk to me because I was unreasonable. That's a dismissal. That's ignoring the fact that I presented. And even though it doesn't look as insulting to a lot of people, it's actually way more insulting.
Of course.
Or venomous cunt scab, because at least mine's just words, and you can tell I'm kidding.
But
hers is a complete 100% dismissal.
Right.
And he's still to this day not ever met me fact to fact. She's just continually attacked my character.
Let me give you an example.
There you go.
Right.
I'm in therapy.
You are so much like your mom. Now, you obviously know I really like your mom and I really respect her, but that never stops me from challenging her. But I do it, and I'm never rude to her. I would never say...
You get blocked.
What? Yeah, well, I don't care about whether she blocks me or not. Just out of sheer respect, I would never kind of be like that. But she put something on the other day, yesterday I think it was, about this guy that was tried, oh God, what's his name? It will come to me. He was tried for treason. What?
The guy in Israel? I saw you guys.
Yeah, that's right. And do you know what? I questioned her about it. And she said it was, basically because Israel was an ally, and obviously, I have leanings towards Israel because of my background and shit, and so I went and looked into it, and your mother was absolutely right. This guy, the United States had hidden things from Israel that could have caused them harm, and this guy had told them about it, but because I hadn't researched it, because I hadn't looked into it, I responded as I did. I wasn't rude to her. I didn't say anything bad, but,
No, you were respectful enough to go and do your own homework Mark.
Yeah, and I told her what I'd done, and I sent her the link as well, and I apologize. She didn't get back to me, but I'm sure she gets 1,000 fucking tweets a minute, but, you know.
And see, what you're doing there is you're being respectful to somebody. You're saying that I respect you enough that I'm not going to dismiss what you're saying. I'm going to take 30 seconds of my time and substantiate your claim or mine. And then that's how debate happens. That's how conversations happen, and
right.
how people grow and learn together. Now, had you said to her, you don't understand Israel policies, and I'm going to leave now,
right.
then you're an asshole.
Right. But
you're a giant puss bag of shit.
The guy was called Jonathan Pollard. I couldn't remember his name. But, you know, one thing I often wonder is, why do you and your mother spend so much time trying to educate idiots? Because there are some people that you will never educate. You will never change their point of view. And I've said this to your mother, why are you spending so much time educating idiots? And she kind of can't give me an answer. I see you want people to have the facts, but surely there's got to be a cutoff point with that. Surely there's got to be a point where you say, fuck that, I'm not doing that anymore.
There is. Like, you know, I was following 1,800 people on Twitter, and about 1,500 of them were conservatives, right-wings, Tea Party, Christians. And this morning I deleted them all because I was trying to bridge a gap. I was trying to have political discussions in the middle of the ground. Some people got it. I learned some things, blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, I just realized that these people are stuck in their ways, on the left as well. And, yeah, nothing I can do is ever going to change it.
Please tell me you blocked that fucking Ron guy.
No, I still follow that guy.
You still follow him? He blocked me for challenging him on something, and I was absolutely right. You see, I am fundamentally a Democrat that leans towards libertarianism, but I try to look at every side of every argument, but he is so tunnel visioned that he can't, you know, it's almost like he's been tied to a chair for a month and been indoctrinated. Really, that's how it feels.
No, it is, but even he is more respectful than Kfb-999, and that's why I follow him and talk to him, because we totally disagree, and he does insult me a lot. I personally insult him, but there's a respect level between him and I, and that is that we will enter a conversation and let the other person talk.
Right.
And that's, like I said, that's all I ask. To answer your question of why do I spend all this time trying to educate idiots, I'll tell you, every problem in the world could be solved if people on this planet weren't fucking idiots.
I agree.
Everything.
I agree.
Hole in the ozone, racism, gay adoption, anything that divides us. If it was people that were on this planet weren't giant fucking idiots like Kfb-999, the world would be a better place. So
I hope she's not going to listen to my show. I really don't.
That's why I do it.
Right.
And for every idiot that's out there fornicating with other idiots and creating
more idiots,
my world is getting more idiotic.
I have to say, for me, I consider myself to be an educated and informed person, and if I don't know, I'll make it my business to find out. Right. But I will never, whether it's anything to do with me being gay or anything to do with what I believe, being a Jew for Jesus, whatever it's about, even if I don't agree with you, I will check it out. Because I might be wrong. I am fallible. I'm human. And I wish everybody had that kind of attitude. Because if they did, the world would be such a better place. I really do. Because we're all fallible. We're all human. We can't know everything about everything. Apart from you, of course, Jake. But, that just goes without saying. But you know what I mean, I mean, we've had some hairy moments, when I was first getting to know you. But we've come through them because I think in a way we're similar kinds of people, and I don't mean that we both like 25-year-old black men. I mean we have a level of understanding about things and people, and I think it does set you apart, really.
Well, you're intelligent enough to, again, all I ask for is that. And that's why we've come through your quote-unquote hairy moments, as you say, because you never disrespected me or dismissed me, and I never did that to you. So every issue, again, this proves my point, every issue and debate and misconception and argument that people have is really easy to solve if both people aren't total fucking morons like Kfb-999.
But
That's why she is getting the brunt.
But the funny thing is...
She is the problem, not you or I.
The funny thing is...
But seriously, all joking aside, all right, I'll stop joking. That's the truth, though. You're an intelligent person.
Thank you.
Intelligently. If there's two people like that, everything can be solved.
But, I think...
I'm taking my ball and going home.
Yeah.
They're the ones that make the world a worse place. They're not making it better.
But, you obviously forgot this, but I remember you said to me before about this get option thing. You said, oh, you're probably going to block me after this and you're not going to talk to me anymore. But I think, unfortunately, there is this kind of ideology that because there are so many tards around, and I don't mean people that are retarded, I mean tards, that you treat everyone as if they're going to respond that way. And obviously, we don't all respond that way,
That's true.
Some of us are enlightened enough, if we don't know about it, that we will look into it. Because if not, what's the point? Hey, I don't want to spend my time with people or talking to people that can't hold a decent conversation, that can't debate, that can't talk about things without getting...
Like Kfb-999 you're talking about?
So we're coming to the end of our time because I know that you're on strict schedules and stuff. So I saw on your page you're going to see, forgive my pronunciation because I don't know, you're going to this thing on Sunday night is it called Jews Talk or something?
Ask a Jew with Dennis Prager.
Ask a Jew. So tell us a bit about that and tell us why you're going. Because if I was in L.A., I would be coming with you, really. Because
that's why I tweeted it out, because I knew you were far enough away.
Have you heard of airplanes, Jake? Remember, I know where you live.
Now, Prager, again, this just makes my point, about what a giant piece of crap that Kfb-999 lady is, because Dennis Prager is a right-wing Jew.
Right.
So he is pretty much my opposite across the board.
Right.
But he's a very intelligent man. He's well-spoken, and he's compassionate, and he will debate. I've seen him debate openly. I've been to a couple of his shows with people, and he's very respectful. He's like me, except he won't call people a cunt scab. He's sure than I am, but he's older.
You mean he's polite?
Hewitt is, a right-wing... I think he's a Protestant or Catholic or whatever, and they're going to discuss theology and religion. And now, you know me, I already said religion's stupid. I don't go with right-wingers for the most part, but here is going to be two right-wingers that are both very religious, but because they are intelligent, because they're able to debate intelligent, I am okay with listening to them, and I want to go there and learn from them. I want to learn how they think. I like an exchange in ideas. That's why I debate with people. That's why I get so mad when they act like assholes and leave, because I really do believe that's the way the world's a better place. So I'm going to the Ask a Jew event this Sunday night, and also I am going to be meeting Dennis Prager and Hewitt. I got VIP passes, and I'm very excited because he is a mentor, and not a mentor because he doesn't know me. He's someone I look up to, Dennis.
Right. I so wish I was going too, and I mean that sincerely. I really do.
Yeah, that's why I waited till it was too late for you to get a ticket.
Hey, don't push it, bitch. I can be on that plane tonight.
Kurt Schlitting or whatever, that other right-wing douche nozzle I always fight with, he'll be there as well.
Who?
I'm going to be, and I joined the NRA this week, so I'm always constantly the, agnostic, progressive Democrat surrounded by right-wing nut jobs. But
who else is going to be there? You said, but you didn't say the name.
Hugh Hewitt.
Who?
Hugh Hewitt.
I don't think I know him or of him.
I don't really know him that well. I'm going for Prager, to be honest.
Right.
I went to Prager and Adam Carolla. They do a show together.
I've heard of Adam Carolla. Isn't he? Are you talking about the actor, the Australian guy?
Well, him and Dennis Prager did a tour together where they sit up and talk about politics. They're both right wing.
Really? I would never have, in a million years, have thought that Adam Carolla was kind of into that kind of thing.
He's a legit conservative. He's not religious conservative, like he believes in lower taxes and blah blah blah. I mean, he's a good guy.
Right.
He's one of the conservatives I like, but he's an atheist. He doesn't believe in God at all. And a lot of the shows that Prager and him did, where they would talk about faith and God, and they are completely on the other side of the spectrum, but they're friends. And for me, again, there's nothing better for me to watch, it's like porn for me, then people who disagree respectfully.
Sorry, go on.
I love that.
You won't be masturbating at this event, will you?
No, I won't.
Oh no, because it's only synagogues you do that in public places, isn't it?
Yeah, only on the outside of synagogues. I wouldn't do it inside. I'm not weird.
No, of course not.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm going to ask it you. So I'm excited. I might even have a question for them, because the other thing that's so exciting about being me is that no one knows that I'm smarter than most of everybody, so I can sort of play like a ringer or hustle a little bit. So I'm thinking of dropping a question that will make their heads explode.
But answer this question for me now. Yeah. Do you know when stupid people think you're stupid, don't you kind of swell a little bit inside when you really know that you're kind of like you're a genius compared to some of these people?
Knows more about medical.
Leave the girl alone, for fuck's sake. But what I'm saying is, inside I swell when stupid people think that I'm stupid, because I'm making a difference.
Swell? You mean get angry?
No. It's a good thing. It's a positive thing. I'm like,
oh yes.
When stupid people think that I'm stupid, because I think I'm a pretty clever person, and I'm not like bigging myself up. I'm just saying that. Compared to your average stupid ass on Twitter, I think I'm fairly clever. But when stupid people accuse me of being stupid, it's like, wow,
I mean, I love it. But, as long as they're not dismissive. I like when people call me stupid more than when a stupid person says I don't understand scientific methodology. Oh. I forgot to tell you.
What's the difference between... Go on, I'll ask you.
Working a new thing out. I have to go, but this was another experiment. There's this belief in the comedy world that if you keep using a joke so much that it eventually it will become not funny, but then there's a point after that where if you keep doing it, it'll become funny again.
Right.
So hopefully the Kfb-999 jokes will be amusing at this point. We're an hour and 10 in.
Yeah, I have a joke for you. What's the difference between Jake Pentland and the pit bull? Well, a pit bull eventually lets go.
I do like that. I don't let go of things very easy. But again, real quick before I go, if somebody apologizes or owns up, then I let go like a fucking Zen Buddhist master.
Right.
But up until that point, oh no, I'd dog bite. I mean, this woman, I'm eventually, like I told Jen yesterday on the phone that my dream is this Kfb-99 lady, that I could get in her head so bad that I make her swallow her tongue and die.
That is terrible.
So I may have some psychological problems.
Yeah, but let's face it, the people that say they haven't got psychological problems are the ones with the psychological problems. We're all working through our psychological problems, surely. She
did swallow her tongue and died. I mean, that would be one less person.
You would, yeah, but how bad would you feel?
Huh?
How bad would you feel? Did you ever see the episode of The Golden Girls where Rose said to this woman, if you don't like it, you can drop dead, and the woman just did? I mean, imagine if that really happened.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't bug me at all.
Okay. So let me just ask you one final question, because I probably won't get a chance to speak to you for this length of time again.
Right.
But now... I had someone, and again, your mother was involved. Your mother's always fucking involved. The other day, this Muslim guy was attacking her and calling her all the shit about being a Jew, and she told him to go fuck himself. And I said, well, it's the only fuck he's gonna get, because look at him. So then he started attacking me and getting threatening. Now, are you ever afraid that any of this Twitter shit is going to spill out into real life? Do you ever worry that someone's going to come punch you in the face or hunt you down or slap you at Dennis Prager's gig? Or
Sometimes. Like, I'm a little nervous.
Me too.
Yeah, but I've never really said anything really bad.
No.
I mean, like, I've never really hurt anybody's feelings that, wasn't deserving. Like Kfb-999. So, I mean, if I ran it, but the other thing is, like, you can't attack someone that can beat you up. Like, Kfb-999 is probably, 70 years old. She's probably 500 pounds. She's probably trapped in a house full of cats, and nobody talks to her all day.
Body fascism jumping in there a little again. Go on.
So I'm not really concerned with her being physically violent to me, because she took me off the couch.
But I think you have. There are some nutbags that you really do have to just block. Like this guy I blocked right away. He was calling me a Jew cocksucker. I mean, I couldn't sue him for defamation because it's true, but he just got a little bit too close for me, and he was in Chicago, so it's only like,
if you're gonna,
away.
Battle with crazy people all day, it's like you have to know which ones are violently crazy, and you just have to be
sure. You do.
Never poke a bear.
No.
I would kick a squirrel, but not poke a bear.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've said some stuff about, since the Pope came in, about Catholicism, and I've had some pretty bad comments, but I don't care about that. Catholics don't scare me.
They're nice people usually.
They are usually nice people, but I hate the idea that they will bow to tradition and ignore the raping of youth. I mean, I'm not.
I think that's more of a problem with just humanity in general.
I think you're right. It is very reflective of humanity.
Everybody does. In fact, that's why when kids are abused, they don't ever tell their parents.
No.
It's just natural. It's something that there's a lot of dysfunction and shame about, and everyone is so uncomfortable with it, they'd rather, dismiss it and ignore it, like Kfb-Beef does in debates with me. Why, use Kfb-99 for an example with this child abuse thing. I mean, basically that's what she's doing here, is that when something terrible happens, you can't run away. You have to face it head on. You got to be a pit bull. You got to bite into it. And I think child abuse is absolutely wrong.
Me too.
Of course. And it should be, the church should handle it and treat it that way. But they're just people,
Yeah, they
like
want to bury it.
All right.
Someone asked me a poignant question. We'll end on this. Someone asked me a poignant question the other day. They said, if I knew that a terrorist was living across the road from me and they were making fucking bombs and shit like that, would I have any qualms in calling the police? I'm like, hell no. Then they said, if you knew your neighbor was sexually abusing their kid, would you have any qualms in calling the police? Hell no. But the majority of people would rather just get on with their lives and don't want things to affect them. I bet you're the same as me. If you knew someone was making bombs in their house, you would call the authorities. And the same, if you thought your neighbor was abusing their kid, you'd be on the phone.
Absolutely. I've dialed Child Protective Services before.
Too right.
I would do it again. Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, if you listen to me, you'll know that nothing matters to me more than children and how they're treated.
Absolutely, because it's this generation. I worry for this generation that we're building, because I thought it was bad for me and my peers, but the craziness now. I mean, what is it going to be like for these kids when they grow up?
Yeah, well, they're going to be like Kfb-99.
Well, that's a great point to end it. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jake. It's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much, Jake Pentland. Don't go away.
Thanks.
Well, that was my interview with Jake Pentland, son of Rosenbar and Bill Pentland. Don't forget to follow him on Twitter at Jake Pentland, capital J, capital P. Follow me too at Xander Gibb, all lowercase. Join me next week, same time, same place. Thank you all so much for your continued support. I really am blown away by the numbers of listeners that I'm getting. I love you all very much. Bye-bye.
Loving has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was found. Sugar